Alright, let's talk about May, a movie that came out in 2002. This is a Patron request for Royce Bunn. Thank you for giving me an excuse to finally watch this. This was always on my watch list for a long time. I've always heard about it, how good it is. And finally, I had an excuse to sit down and check it out. It's on Tubi, so you get to watch it for free. So I recommend doing so. It's definitely worth it. This is a movie that even Roger Ebert gave a 4 out of 4 to. I thought that was shocking to see. Not because the movie sucks, but because that guy seems to not like anything I like, and I like this movie, and he loved it. Perfect in his eyes, 4 out of 4. I'm not 5 out of 5 or 4 out of 4 in this movie, but I really did enjoy it. But yeah, so what is this movie about? This movie came out in 2002. I'm not sure if I said that yet. Directed by Lucky McKee. I'm not familiar with his work. I'm not sure what else he's done. But this movie is about a socially awkward girl who works as a veterinarian, and she just, one thing after another, bad things are happening to her. She feels lonely, rejected, judged. She's got a lazy eye. She's very socially awkward. And eventually, she snaps because she can't make friends. She can't get in a relationship and stay in it for too long because of her weirdness. So she decides if you can't find friends, you're gonna just have to make one. And so she basically makes her own Frankenstein, using people's different body parts and putting them all together, very, pieces, 1982. Except that guy was trying to recreate his mother. She's trying to create her friend. And that's not a spoiler because that's the whole plot synopsis that you can read on IMDb. It's the trailer for the movie. It's all about her building a friend by taking people's body parts. So let's jump into my likes for this movie. Angela Bettis, the actress who plays May, I thought she did fantastic. She captures weird good. Like, she's supposed to be weird. She has a lazy eye. I'm sure she was doing that on her own. That's not like CGI lazy eye. Like, she actually was doing something with her eye, and it was just really creepy. But she just plays this character perfectly, and I love this character. I just think she's so sympathetic. Like, yeah, she's like the villain technically by the end, but she's a sympathetic villain, and I always love that. And I love that this is more of a character study than a slasher. It's not just her hacking up people throughout the whole movie. They build up to that. I like how it builds up to that and how we flesh out her character and really understand her loneliness and how she feels rejected by everyone. She keeps getting her heart broken. Like, they really build the character throughout so that you understand why she snaps by the end. You get a brief flashback to her childhood in the beginning. You get to see her getting picked on by school bullies and shit, calling her a pirate because she has to wear a patch due to her lazy eye. So, like, you just feel so bad for this character, and the ending is it's perfect, and it's very depressing, and I love that this is just such a awkward, unsettling character study instead of just being full-blown slasher. I love the doll that she has. It's her only, like, best friend, is this doll that was given to her by her mother as a kid, kind of showing that her mom is like her. Like, her weirdness is hereditary. Like, her mom was obviously fucking weird, but she managed to actually fall in love and get married and have kids. So I don't know, maybe they could make a prequel and show how weird her mom was, because she created this ugly, eerie looking doll. Like, this thing is creepy as fuck, and I love the look of the doll. It's very unsettling. But yeah, it's just another thing in the movie that shows you how lonely this girl is, that her only best friend is a doll that she was given as a child by her weird mom, and she's talking to it throughout the whole movie, which is something that a really lonely person would do. And so yeah, I just love the doll. I love how, when it shatters, it's like symbolic. Her life is shattering at that moment too. She's losing her best friend, the doll. So it's like when that glass box shatters, that's when she shatters. That's when she snaps. I like Anna Faris in the movie, the chick from the scary movies, the spoofs. She's very hot in this. This is right around the same time as Scary Movie. And she is just gorgeous, and she plays a lesbian in this, and we get some girl-on-girl action towards the end. And so I love her. She's the comic relief character in the movie. She can't ever understand what her, Indian boss is saying, or wherever he's from, the guy from that awful, like, 300 spoof. I recognized him. I thought the movie had a really good pace. It just flew by. It's only like 80 some minutes, and I think it might be slow to some people, but because I just related so much to this character. I identified with her. I felt sorry for her. I was on board from beginning to end, and it just flew by. I really liked the pacing of the movie, and I also like that she took her mom's slogan literally. That's her mom at the beginning that says, "If you can't find friends, make one." So that becomes, used later on in her life. She's like, "All right, I'm gonna make a friend, literally a Frankenstein." And I like that the one guy whose arms that she takes, he has like a Frankenstein tattoo on his arm, foreshadowing the Frankenstein that she creates later on. And the ending of this movie, the last scene, I really liked. It was very just heartbreaking, creepy, just disturbing. It was just perfect for this movie. As for my nitpicks and dislikes, Jeremy Sisto, I haven't talked about him yet. He was good in the movie too. The acting is all good. It's all average. Um, but his character, let's talk about him. I didn't like the decision to make him an asshole right before he, spoiler, gets killed. I mean, why did he have to be a douche? Like, it just seemed like a Hollywood movie kind of thing. Like, oh, if they're gonna get killed, we gotta hate them. It's like, no, why couldn't he just be a good guy? Like, I guess it's because he's drunk in that moment. And I do like that he's drunk because it makes more sense. Because, she's so small and he's a tall dude. Like, if he wasn't drunk, I'd be calling bullshit how she would be able to kill him. But because he's drunk, I guess that's how she gets the upper hand. But still, like, why make him a douchebag? He like calls his new girlfriend a dumb bitch. Maybe it's because he's been drinking, but it's a little nitpick. I'm like, oh man, he was such a good character. I liked him. I understood why he broke up with her because she was giving him major red flags. She was really weird. I'd break up with her, but I wouldn't even went on the first date. Like she was giving him red flags instantly. Like how they meet, it's like, dude, why would you go out with her? He's like, I like weird. It's like, no, this isn't weird, weird. This isn't normal chick weird. This is, I'm going to kill you in your sleep weird. Like, don't go out with her. But yeah, like making him a douchebag at the last second, did not like that. I didn't like that she kills a cat either. I just didn't understand that. Like, to her, I guess in that moment, she wanted that cat to snuggle with her, and when the cat just kept walking away, probably to go use the litter box, she was like, "Oh fuck you, cat," and then she killed it. So that took away a little bit of sympathy I had towards this character. And for a premise about chopping people up and taking body parts, this movie's pretty light on gore. You get a couple of shots here and there of limbs, but not a whole lot of gore. There's a decent amount of blood in it, don't get me wrong, but gore, like actually seeing the body parts, like it doesn't go for it. It's very light in that department. And this movie takes place in October. For some reason, it has to be a Halloween movie. It doesn't feel like one. It doesn't look like one either. So that's another little nitpick I have is if you're gonna make it a Halloween movie, make it look like one. There should have been pumpkins everywhere. Like you see Anna Faris like stabbing and carving a pumpkin earlier, but I don't know. I kept forgetting that it was Halloween throughout the whole movie, and every once in a while I'd be reminded by like a trick or treater, like why does this movie have to be on Halloween? Like I just wish they would have increased the Halloween look throughout the movie. So final thoughts, I think this is a very deep, effective story with a lurid finale that is just creepy. It has uncomfortable tension, a good pace, and a perfect portrayal of such a lonely, awkward girl by Angela Bettis. So when it comes to May, I highly recommend you check it out. Go out and buy it. Alright, spoilers. So, Susie, the creepy doll, I already talked about her, but it opens up with her as like a little kid getting the doll, and then, flashes forward. She's still friends with the doll as an adult, talking to it. She gets all her life advice from this doll. Who taught you how to kiss? My doll did. And this guy with the three-legged dog, he's the worst actor in the movie. It was just, was it supposed to be bad? It was just weird bad. Like, because the acting from everyone else was good, but this guy, he's talking about how, I went on vacation and my dog had four legs. When I came back, he only has three, and he's like on the verge of tears, and just the performance was so awful from that guy. So May meets Jeremy, Sisto, I forget his character's name. I think it's like Adam, maybe, but I don't know. So I'm just gonna call him Jeremy. But the way they meet, like he falls asleep at a diner, and she like goes up to him while he's asleep and starts brushing her head up against his hands. that, or for some reason he sleeps with his hand up in the air so she can go brush her head against it. Like, he sees her do this and still goes out on a date with her. Like, red flags, man. Like, she was giving him red flags. And he questions her later on about it. Like, so when we met, what were you doing? And she doesn't even answer the question. She avoids it. She goes, ah, shucks. Yeah, I'm embarrassed. And that's her answer. She gives him no answer. I like that he's an Argento fan. He has a poster of opera on the wall. He should have had a poster of pieces on the wall because that would have foreshadowed the plot of this movie a lot more than opera. I don't think opera's plot has anything to do with what happens in this movie. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that movie's not about chopping people up and putting them together. But because she's a vet and she's used to stitching dogs and cats and everything, doing surgeries, that's how she's able to, all that foreshadows what's to come later on, her stitching all the body parts together. And that story she tells of the dog whose stitches broke, such a messed up story, but he asked for it. He's like, I like weird, give me a weird story. So while he's eating a sandwich, she's talking about how, yeah, we had this customer come in with a dog. We had like a bowel problem, so we cut open the dog, gave it cat stitches, I think is what she said, right? So they gave the dog wrong stitches that bursted, they broke open later on. So she was like, yeah, and then a week later we get a call back from that customer that he found his dog in the backyard with its guts everywhere because the stitches broke, blood all over the fence because it was trying to like leave, or I don't know what exactly she said, but basically that dog was running around the backyard with its guts out in pain, trying to like hop the fence because she said blood was everywhere. What an awful story. But yeah, like I said, he asked for it. The director has a cameo in this movie. He's the guy in the elevator making out with the chick. If I was the director, that's what I would do. Like, what character is making out with a hot chick in this movie? That's who I'm gonna play. and and no dialogue, I just want to make out with somebody. And I love his voicemail, like, please leave your message after the scream, and he just screams. That should be my voicemail. So yeah, then when they're about to have sex, she cock blocks herself. She bites his lips so hard that blood's just gushing out of his mouth. And he's like, "Who the fuck taught you how to kiss?" Which was kind of a rude thing to say to it, but I understand he's in a lot of pain. He's like, "You're a freak," and that's when he breaks up with her. But yeah, she only did that because of his movie. He's like an amateur filmmaker, and he makes like this cannibal picnic short film. So she sees that and thinks that that's what he's into. So she tries to bite off his lip. So yeah, and they have a mac and cheese and Gatorade dinner. Like, that's what you can expect from me, ladies, because that's all I can cook is macaroni. I'm not a cook. So then, yeah, she kills the cat. Did not like that. That rhymes. But why? Because the cat was walking away? She takes a clay ashtray and kills the cat because it wasn't snuggling up to her at that moment when she needed it the most. Like, well, fuck you then, cat. And was that cat even hers? I think it was. She was babysitting that cat for Polly, the Anna Faris. And what's even more messed up than her killing the cat is her sleeping with the cat like it's still alive the next day, waking up with it. And so then all these handicapped children, or I think they all have some kind of handicap. I read that they were blind. I didn't know if they were blind, but whatever. These kids, they break her doll, they tear it apart, and that tears her apart, metaphorically. She's falling apart. And then that's when she snaps and goes on this killing spree, starting with this Jujubes Mohawk dude who just randomly comes up to her and says, "Hey, let's go to my place and have Jujubes," but they go to her place, and just like kind of like Reanimator, he finds the dead cat in her fridge. So she kills the Jujubes guy for his arms. He's got the Frankenstein tattoo, and she kills him right after he calls her a freak. So it's like that was what set her off. It's like, you called me a freak? No, too many people keep calling me a freak. That does it. I'm killing you. So maybe if he just would have kept his mouth shut, I'm sure she was still going to kill him. But yeah. So she goes and she slits the throat of Polly. She's like, "I trust you." And then she just slices her throat open to take her neck, and then takes the other chick's legs, her gams, and then Adam, he's drunk, so I guess that's how she's able to overpower him. He's very drunk, so takes his hands, takes the other new girlfriend's ears. So yeah, then she just creates the Frankenstein monster and doesn't have a face for it. The face is something that she creates, and then it needs eyes. She's like, you don't see me. So she, very Saw 2, just fucking actually does it, unlike that guy in Saw 2. She stabs her eyes with the scissors, or just the one eye. She takes like her lazy eye out and gives it to the monster that she's creating, and finally she thinks that it can see her, and she names it Amy, which is like her name rearranged, and which is also French, I read, for friend. Ami, Amy. And so yeah, and then the doll, not the doll, this monster, Amy, the hand actually starts to move and pets her face as she bleeds out. Because I'm sure she's going to die. Like, you cut your eye out like that, you stab yourself in the eye with a pair of scissors, and you don't, like, patch it up. I'm sure you're going to just keep bleeding, and that's going to kill you, right? So, yeah, she's just sitting there lonely, depressed. Finally, for the first time, she feels loved and petted and held and affection from somebody that she created, and dies in this monster's arms. So those are my thoughts on May. Let me know what you thought about this movie in the comments below. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And remember, if you can't find a friend, make one.